Captain Zethkar's chitinous claws clicked against the metal doorframe as he entered his private quarters aboard the warship Dominion's Edge. The Kethmori commander had grown accustomed to the solitude of his cabin, a sanctuary where he could shed the burdens of commanding a vessel filled with a dozen different alien species, all united under the Galactic Coalition's banner. But tonight his sanctuary had been invaded. The human sat cross-legged on his sleeping platform, her back turned to him, dark hair pulled into a practical ponytail. Jihan, the ship's newest mechanic, had somehow bypassed his security locks and made herself at home in his most private space. Her small form was hunched over something in her lap, completely absorbed in whatever task had drawn her here. Zethkar's four eyes narrowed, his translator implant automatically processing the soft sounds she was making. Singing. The human was singing in her native tongue, her voice barely above a whisper. The melody was haunting. Unlike anything in the Coalition's cultural databases, he should have been furious. Should have activated the security alert and had her dragged to the brig for this unprecedented breach of protocol. Instead, something made him freeze in the doorway, his massive frame casting a shadow across the dimly lit room. Jihan's hands moved with practiced precision, and Zethkar realized she wasn't simply trespassing. She was working. Spread before her were the components of his personal chronometer, a device that had been malfunctioning for weeks. The ship's other engineers, including the highly regarded Selvari technicians, had declared it irreparable. Yet here sat the quiet human, the one who rarely spoke during briefings and kept to herself in the engine rooms, somehow having taken apart his most prized possession. The chronometer had been a gift from his clutch mother before his first command. It was more than a timepiece. It was a symbol of his heritage, inscribed with the names of his ancestors who had served in the Kethmori fleet. When it had begun displaying erratic readings, he'd accepted its loss as another casualty of deep space service. But Jihan worked with an almost reverent care, her fingers dancing between microscopic circuits and crystalline components. She held each piece up to the light, examining it through a small magnifying lens she'd apparently brought with her. Occasionally she would pause, tilt her head, and listen to some sound only she could hear. "The harmonic resonance is off by 0.03%, she murmured to herself, so quietly that even his enhanced hearing barely caught it. "But if I adjust the coupling here," Zethkar watched, transfixed, as she made minute adjustments with tools he didn't recognize, instruments that seemed impossibly delicate for her species' supposedly crude hands. Humans were known throughout the galaxy for their adaptability and stubborn resilience, but they were considered technologically primitive compared to races like the Selvari or the AI-enhanced Nexari. Yet Jihan worked with a precision that put his ship's advanced engineers to shame. She began to hum again, and Zethkar realized the melody matched the rhythm of her work. Each note seemed to correspond with a specific action, a twist here, an alignment there. It was as if she was conducting a symphony with chronometer components as her orchestra. "Humans," she whispered to the device, "we fix things. It's what we do." The simple statement carried a weight that made Zethkar's breath catch in his throat. In the 3 years since humanity had joined the Coalition, they had consistently defied expectations. When the Void Hunters had launched their surprise attack on Kepler Station, it was human engineers who had jury-rigged shields from mining equipment, holding the line until reinforcements arrived. When the plague ships threatened Andromeda's Prime, human doctors had worked for 72 hours straight, developing treatments that saved millions of lives. They fixed things. It was indeed what they did. Jihan carefully began reassembling the chronometer, her movements now flowing like a dance. Each component found its place with surgical precision, and slowly the device began to take shape again. The soft blue glow of its power core flickered to life, casting gentle shadows across her concentrated features. As the final piece clicked into place, the chronometer's display illuminated with perfect clarity. The time was accurate to the nanosecond, synchronized with the ship's main computer. But more than that, the inscription of his ancestors' names glowed with renewed brilliance as if the device had been reborn. Jihan smiled, a small, satisfied expression, and finally turned around. She froze when she saw him standing in the doorway, her dark eyes wide with surprise and perhaps a touch of fear. For a moment, neither of them moved. "Captain," she said quietly, her voice steady despite being caught in his private quarters. I heard it calling. Calling? Sethkar's voice was a low rumble, his translator struggling with the unfamiliar concept. Broken things, Jihan explained, carefully placing the chronometer on his desk. They have a sound. A loneliness. Your chronometer was crying. She stood slowly, gathering her tools with practiced efficiency. I'm sorry for the intrusion, Captain. I couldn't sleep and I heard it from 3 decks away. I know I shouldn't have. How? Sethkar interrupted, stepping fully into the room. How did you know what was wrong with it? Jihan paused, her tools halfway into her kit. I listened. Really listened. Not just with my ears, but... She touched her chest over her heart. Here, broken things want to be whole again. They'll tell you how if you know how to hear them. Sethkar moved to his desk, picking up the restored chronometer with reverent claws. It felt different, not just repaired, but somehow renewed. The weight of it was exactly as he remembered from his youth. The Silvari engineer said it was beyond repair, he said. The Silvari hear with their minds, Jihan replied. Humans hear with our hearts. Different tools for different problems. She finished packing her kit and moved toward the door, but Sethkar's voice stopped her. Jihan. She turned back, meeting his alien gaze without fear. Tomorrow, report to Engineering Section 1. You're being promoted to Chief Mechanical Systems Analyst. Her eyes widened. Captain, I don't have the qualifications. You have something better, Sethkar said, looking down at his chronometer as it ticked with perfect precision. You listen to what's broken and help it heal. As Jihan left his quarters, Sethkar reflected on humanity's place in the galaxy. Other species had superior technology, advanced mathematics, powerful weapons. But humans had something else, a gift for mending what was broken, for hearing the silent cries of damaged things and making them whole again. In a galaxy torn by war and division, perhaps that was exactly what the Coalition needed. The chronometer chimed softly, marking the hour, and Sethkar smiled. Some things, once fixed by human hands, were stronger than they had ever been before.